So 150 million trees disappear into fashion every year, into viscose and rayon fabrics. That's slated to double within the next decade, and much of those fabrics currently originate from the world's ancient and endangered forests. And on top of viscose, fashion brands use an enormous amount of packaging. In fact, many brands use more packaging than they do materials for the other fabrics that they use. And that also places a massive footprint on forest ecosystems around the world. And as brands look to shift away from single-use plastics, which of course is an important thing to do, they're often inadvertently placing more stress on forest ecosystems as they look to meet their packaging needs. And so forest ecosystems from Indonesia's rainforests and the Amazon, where deforestation is a huge issue, to the Russian boreal, to Canada's forests, where 80% of the logging takes place in forests that have never been logged. These are the forest ecosystems that are impacted by deforestation and forest degradation.
What is the link for those who are not as informed between deforestation and climate change?
Yeah. So forests are incredible storehouses of carbon. And in some areas, the boreal forest and the tropical forests of Indonesia, the Amazon, oftentimes you'll have forests growing on peatlands that are these incredibly dense, rich bank accounts of terrestrial carbon. And so when a forest is logged and cleared, be it sort of logged and the forest is degraded or actual deforestation, then you have a massive release of carbon into the atmosphere.
So how does your organization work to address these challenges?
Sure. So Canopy, we're an environmental not-for-profit, and we work to protect the world's forests, species, and climate. So a lot of our work is actually focused on addressing these issues. We do that by harnessing the purchasing power of really large corporate customers of packaging, viscose fabrics, and paper. And specifically with our Canopy Style initiative, we're focused on eliminating the use of ancient and endangered forests in viscose and rayon fabrics. And today we have 160 brands who are committed to eliminating any viscose or rayon fabrics that originate from endangered forests by 2020. They're also working with us to catalyze commercial scale production of these next generation solutions, so making fabrics from recycled fabrics or from straw, and to help drive large-scale conservation on the ground. In response to these brands engaging their suppliers, we have viscose producers that represent 70% of global viscose production who have similar commitments in place, and we now have more than a quarter of the world's viscose actually verified as low risk of originating from endangered forests.
Is there any measurement that links forest conservation to result-oriented environmental outcomes?
Yeah, absolutely. You can quantify the amount of carbon that is saved by keeping a high carbon value forest standing.
Yes.
And there is work being done currently to also measure the biodiversity savings that are resulting from large-scale forest conservation.
How can the textile industry improve its traceability when it comes to sourcing wood for man-made cellulosic fibers?
So viscose is a particularly convoluted and opaque supply chain. And historically there's been basically zero visibility on the forest of origin. And so the Canopy Style initiative focuses on increasing transparency and traceability from the forest floor through to the fiber, so that brands like H&M or Interdex, Uniqlo, Stella McCartney, these brands that are engaged with us can actually source from a viscose producer and be confident that they're actually buying viscose and rayon fabrics that are coming at low risk to endangered forest ecosystems.
If you could change or improve one thing to stop deforestation for the production of textiles during the next 5 years, what would it be?
Diversifying the fiber basket that we use to make packaging and viscose fabrics is absolutely critical if we're to alleviate the stress that we're placing on forest ecosystems. And so next generation solutions catalyzing commercial scale production of next generation solutions is a top priority for Canopy over the next 5 years. We're partnering with our brand partners, viscose producers, next generation solutions providers, and research institutions to see how we can draw through these next generation solutions out of the laboratory and into the market at scale.
Do you have an example of what a next generation solution could be?
Yeah, and so a next generation solution for us are things like making this generation of fabrics from recycled clothing, or using straw that's left over after the food grain harvest, using that to make viscose, instead of relying on high carbon and high biodiversity forests for the fiber.